Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro's official D&D channel YouTube statement on the 2024 5th edition core rulebooks. Every single word is critically important in that. So they had Jeremy Crawford come out, and he gave a breakdown, and they had him talk to Todd Kenrick. And Hasbro, when it comes to D&D, is not like any other company, right? Like, every single move they make, if they move in one centimeter this way, if they move 1 centimeter that way, literally the earth shakes, right? Like, they just, no other company in Dungeons and Dragons, no other company in tabletop role-playing game demands as much attention as they do, and just and really just absolutely smashes down, these huge statements, right? And so one of the things I think is really interesting is that one of the things I think where we're really arriving now is that they are saying, hey, pay attention. This is where we're currently at, right? And where they're at is they're saying no new additions, right? And I think what's really interesting is they are saying, hey, we understand you're the community. We are the owners of Dungeons & Dragons, and we are the developers of Dungeons & Dragons, and we need to come to a peace together, and we will. And I think one of the things they're saying is, like, we will get you there. We're going to have a conversation, but we are not going to give. And I think this is what Hasbro realizes. They have something of value. They have leverage. They have huge leverage. They have more leverage against, I'm sorry to say it, but against their community. The community wants one thing, and I think what's really interesting is we've reached a point where we realize giving the community everything it wants is not healthy, right? Like, and because one of the things, and one of the reasons, and I think one thing that's really interesting about what they're saying too is, what is the community's desire? Because one of the problems we have right now as a modern society is, we hear something the loudest that may not be what the community wants. That's just the loudest section of the community, right? And that there might be, like, we literally saw this in America, right? Every pollster was like, Hillary's going to win, right? But the reality is there was this silent undertow, right? And people were like, no, we want Trump, right? And he won, right? And so, and against the assurances of literally thousands of pollsters and political wonks who all had it wrong, right? And so I think that they understand Dungeons & Dragons is incredibly important, and they're doing what they can to kind of like even this out. So let's look at every single word. What they're saying is 5th edition remains. 5th edition remains. 5th edition remains. And they're like, and the other thing is they don't even like to they do not like to refer to editions, right? They hate saying 5th edition. It's extremely rare when Hasbro will refer to Dungeons & Dragons as 5th edition. They really despise it, right? And by the way, they literally have never printed it on a single canon hardback, not once, right? In fact, I think, they've never printed 5e on Dungeons & Dragons, the current edition, right? But they're taking the time right now to say these are the 2024 5th edition core rulebooks. And what they're saying is you are going to get new 5e core rulebooks, right? And I actually, and they're saying flat out, these will be the 2024 5th edition core rulebooks. And what they're saying, and they're saying that very plainly, and what they're really saying is there is no 6th edition. This is not 5.5. They're taking control of the language, right? And I think it's going to work. And what's even more, and here's what I really think they're saying: one, D&D. And so what they're saying is there's never, ever, 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 ever going to be another edition, right? And I think what you'll see is, I think you could very well see a 2034 5th edition core rulebook. And this is really important because because I really think where we've arrived is that Dungeons and Dragons, the developers and the owners, are saying, we really are the entire tabletop role-playing game space. Everyone lives at our mercy. And I think that's true. I really think, like, they're so far ahead, and the indies and the OSRs are literally just fringes on their poncho. Like, that's just the best way to understand it, right? And so, and what they're saying is, a new edition helps no one. And I think that what they're also saying is, we've arrived at a point where this is a robust, loved edition, and we're going to get at minimum 10 more years. And so one thing I think they might want to do, or what they might be, so one, I think they're saying absolutely no movement to 5.5, no movement to 6th edition. They're literally saying it. They're saying this is the 2024 5th edition core rulebooks. Period. End of sentence. We are not moving to a new edition. And these will contain old content, new content, and refined content. If you listen carefully, that's what they're saying. Old content, new content, and refined content. It is not a new edition. It is the 2024 5th edition core rulebooks, and you will be able to continue to play with the 2014 core rulebooks. And I think they're even also very much saying it will be completely appropriate for there to be 2014 PHBs at the table, and there will be 2024 5th edition core rulebooks at the table. And I think the way they're going to handle that is, like, you have different players at different levels of dedication, right? Every table has players of different skill levels and different dedication levels, right? And so what I think really what very well may happen is, and I was about to say, like, you'll see these 2024 PHBs handed down, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. I love my 2024 PHB. The binding is still good. Like, and I honestly, when that thing breaks apart, I think I would just spindle it and rebind it, right? Like, and honestly, I think I'm going to keep both. I'm not going to give one. And I think that's what's going to happen is dedicated players will have both. But I think the reality is what we're seeing is the biggest, strongest takeaway from this is they're saying 5e is not going anywhere. We are not moving to 5.5. We are not moving to 6th edition. And they're saying we will also fight you every step of the way to the OSR community, the indie community, and even the D&D community. If you try to label us, if you try to put a name on us, if you try to re-edition us, we will fight you. And they've been fighting tooth and nail all the way down the line, virtually, in my humble opinion. They're like one D&D, and what they were trying to say is no new additions, right? And actually, you know what? I think we are getting one D&D, but they have to do one thing at a time. You can't accomplish everything at once, right? I think we're going to get one D&D. I think they're really going to say every D&D is every edition. It's every canon hardback, right? But they can't get there right now. And what they need to say right now is we are absolutely not moving to 5.5. We are absolutely not moving to 6th edition. And I think that's the takeaway from the video that we just saw is 5th edition forever, man. Like, and that actually, I'm putting a little bit on there, more than might be there. 5th edition for 10 more years. They literally said that. They're like, we're gonna get this ready for the next 10 years. And I think they want to have an edition that lasts 20 years. Is that a good goal? Oh yeah, that is a very good goal. And the reason why is just look at the nonsense that's happening on Warhammer 40K. They came out in 1986 and they have 10 editions, right? So they literally have 12 years less than Dungeons & Dragons and twice as many editions. They drag their players over glass. It is horrible. It's cruel. It's cruel. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.